I will hit the record button then. Hello, everybody. Hope you all had a good Christmas. Got to see all your family and friends, did all the things you needed to do. This is the first official 2022 roundtable. So let's make 2022 a good one and get on with it. Welcome to all the new members. Great to see we've got so many people getting along, having a great time. Chat's been amazing the past few days. So for those of you new, this is the roundtable. Here we get to discuss changes coming to the community, the cluster, gives us an opportunity to get discussions going, feedback to the players, hear from the players. We've got quite a bit to discuss, mainly ARC today. So if I go over some bullet points, I'm sure DJ will fill in the details.
Yes, I like filling in the details.
Are you ready to go in no particular order / some sort of order? So pinpoints we had tagged up were trike saddles all fixed. Because I know there was some issue with engrams, right?
Yes, we had KBD is phasing out trike saddles. And in preparation for that, we removed the KBD saddle and put in the vanilla ones. Unfortunately, there's an issue in KBD where while the trike saddles are still within the mod, it hides the vanilla ones. So we've put the KBD ones back. And when you craft those, it'll give you a vanilla one.
Amazing. Cool. Second thing on the list we've got then is the Federation Exo Suit on Gen 2 has been added to the ARC shop. Obviously, because people were having a lot of trouble transferring. We had some complaints about that. So I believe we have a kit up, right?
Yes, so the issue with the Gen 2 tech suit is you get it automatically given to you when you open a loot drop, when you open a terminal, when you open a mission terminal, when you open a transmitter, when you pick your nose, when you sneeze, and obviously that was causing some issues with people who wanted to move from Gen 2 to Lost Island because you have to travel with nothing in your inventory. So as soon as you went to travel, you were given a tech suit. You throw it away, you'd be given another one. You throw it away, get another one. So we decided to move it to a kit. The only thing I've got left to do on that is just put a message of the day on Gen 2 saying how to redeem it. The only other thing about that as well is kits and stuff on the shop cannot be free. So unfortunately it costs. It's an awful lot. It costs 1 whole point.
How dare you?
Yes, and that will lead into one of our other points later on.
It should do. Right, moving on then to a bit more of a serious discussion. Performance investigation ongoing on the cluster. Give us a bit more on what's going on with the performance.
Yes, so we noticed that on a regular basis, and regular meaning exactly every 2 minutes, the frame rate on the server, not the client, the server would drop and then immediately bounce back up to maximum again. So we did several days of investigation, starting with removing all the mods on our test server, then removing all the extra functionality we have programmed in and seeing what happened. It went away. So we put all the mods back. It was fine. So we put all the extra extensions and plugins back. It wasn't fine. So then we took away the mods. It was fine. So mods plus plugins equals bad things. So then we had to go through and remove every single bot one at a time, reboot the server, test it, and see what happens. I think as of this morning, I've nailed the issue. It was a single piece of configuration in the S Plus mod that didn't like working with our custom code on the server.
Okay.
So I've made the changes on the test server, run some tests on that, and hopefully we will deploy that tomorrow morning during the scheduled maintenance that runs from 9 a.m. UK time to however long it takes us to finish all the updates, mod updates, server updates, plugin updates, Windows updates, whatever other updates are needed to keep our servers running.
Excellent.
So tomorrow's maintenance will be a little bit longer than normal. It may start about 9:15, and it'll probably run for at least an hour, if not more. So if you're planning on playing ARC tomorrow morning, well,
Tough cities.
yeah, go listen to the roundtable instead.
Unfortunately, you may actually have to speak to, God forbid, people in real life.
What?
We try and avoid these
You
things.
can't make me do that.
We do.
But But either way, we've spent many days and many hours just sitting there rebooting servers and actually sitting there with a stopwatch on my phone, timing the bits between servers going and not going So yeah, that was horrible.
We get
Don't want
all
to do
the
that
cool
again.
jobs. All the cool jobs. So if we're okay with performance investigation, that will be deployed tomorrow then, and hopefully things get better. If not, keep reporting them. We'll get on top of them. So on to something a bit better than performance issues. Arc Shop. We have a whole new version of Arc Shop to put in. As some of you may have seen with some sneaky pictures, we've got a UI behind that now.
Yes,
So
I have seen. It is cool.
it is cool. You want to give us a bit more about the Arc Shop update?
Yes, the videos that we teased 2 weeks ago, or just before Christmas, have come to fruition. So we have to install a very, very small mod. So the mod count will go up by 1. But also the mod count will come down by 1 because we found one that we can remove on all the servers except for one that will have no impact on anybody whatsoever and you will not notice. So net result is no problem. We have a new plugin to install which helps translate our current shop to a visual representation in the game. And then you will have a lovely interface through which you can search for kits and shop items. You can click a button to buy them, have them delivered straight to your inventory. It'll also allow you to trade with people currently online. When I say trade, exchange points directly with other players. So select the player, select the number of points, and click trade.
That is so cool.
It also provides you with an interface to sell your Federation shards to the shop and purchase them back again, and a number of other useful links. It's searchable, filterable, and it's very lightweight. So it will make finding things to buy in-game using your Federation shard stroke shop points a hell of a lot easier. Really
Awesome.
looking forward to putting that in.
So
that sounds amazing.
when then, just to play devil's advocate, when can we see that going in? We were discussing earlier, weren't we, that maybe tomorrow was not a good plan.
Yes. So to assess the effects of our performance improvements, we really don't want to pile in a load of new stuff at the same time because we won't know if that will affect what we've just done. Or if it doesn't work, then we won't know if it's the new stuff we put in or if it's something we need to change again. So I'm thinking the good thing about the ArcShop stuff is we can deploy most of it without bringing the servers down. And then all we do is we add the mod to the servers will pick up a new mod and automatically reboot, and then suddenly it'll be live. So I'm thinking we drop that in at like Thursday or Friday, something like that.
Cool. Right then, so moving on again. The new transferring system, that went in last Wednesday, I believe. So we have a whole new transferring system and a little bit to talk about on that too.
So normally when you transfer between arcs and you have a fully capped inventory, you'll get a buffer overflow error and crash mid-transfer, possibly lose some items, then have to faff around logging back in again, going to another server, and all sorts of weird and wonderful shenanigans, which is not good for anybody. So for the last week and a bit, we've been running our new transfer system. And what it's been doing is it's been protecting people from that buffer overflow without you possibly even realizing it. So we have a log, and we can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 22 times people have transferred in the last week, which would have resulted in them crashing mid-transfer and getting an overflow that we've managed to prevent. Mostly people transferring large amounts of shit. And when I say large amounts of shit, I don't mean random stuff, I mean fertilizer and shit. I have no idea why people are moving entire inventories full of that stuff between servers, but hey, great, wonderful. You stink.
Underground pit
You're
trade.
all just full of shit. You stink.
Yeah. So we've prevented a lot of crashes there. The next iteration of that, which we will be deploying tomorrow, will actually save your inventory if you crash mid-transfer for any other reason, like a disconnect, not having a piece of DLC installed, not having a mod installed, or any other reason, so that when you do eventually log back in, your inventory will just come straight back to you. And if it doesn't immediately come back to you, you will have the option of doing /download, and it'll download everything that you uploaded into our database.
Nice.
And the reason we didn't have the full thing deployed was it wasn't working very well with Ascensions. That has now been fully tested, and it will safeguard you when you ascend as well.
Sweet. So that's another thing ticked off. That's all good. Next thing on my list, we have Lost Island transfers message of the day. Most people will have seen that's changed now, and is just basically I'm taking it aiming at letting people know what's going on with Lost Island so that they're aware of what they can and can't take forward. Anything,
Yes,
anything more?
so a lot of new players joining the cluster, wanting to check out Lost Island, transferring to the rest of the cluster and going, I can't take my things back with me. So we put a helpful message of the day up saying, remember, you can't take your things back with you.
Yeah.
As for opening up transfers to from the rest of the cluster to Lost Island for all your consumables and carry-alls and all that wonderful resources and stuff like that, we're still holding off on that. Ideally, we'll probably open it up at the same time as official do, but if the Lost Island boss hasn't been killed by then, I'm still hesitant to open up full transfers until we have a few tribes at least through the end game before it becomes kind of a cheese fest.
Yeah,
Fair.
you can see what will happen when people bring their dinosaurs and whatnot.
Yeah, as soon as we open up that transfer, the boss on Lost Island will be dead within seconds. So
Yep.
I want it to be something special for the tribe that gets that first kill, second, or even third kill on the boss.
They will
Now,
add it to the Hall of Heroes.
So on Ragnarok, we have something called the Hall of Heroes. On there, the Hall of Heroes is a massive structure built by Sandy, and there are dioramas for all of our major events and boss kills featuring the characters from the tribe that get the first kill. We also have the Wall of Supporters, which has all the supporters who have helped support the cluster on a giant wall, along with chibis and what do you call it when you skin somebody? Painful.
Dermis.
Dermis, yes, dermises of the
Oh.
players involved. They were asleep when we skinned them, so they didn't feel a thing, honest.
Awesome. So
what would be good, actually, is getting the coordinates to the Hall of Heroes, maybe in general or in game or something, so that people know and can visit and explore this wonderful construction.
that's a good
You
idea.
put it in the message of the day for Ragnarok.
Yeah, we could put it in the message of the day on Rag. That would be a really good idea.
That works. Visit Rag, visit the Hall of Heroes, see the cool shiny things. All good.
Yes.
Hang on. Did you just say that I had a good idea?
Me personally, no, I didn't say that.
We're recording, right?
We'll come back to that one later.
I think
Moving
they
on.
did, Tom. I think they did.
Moving on. Okay, the big one this week. Let's talk about blueprints and what's happened, how they're affecting things, all that sort of stuff.
Yes, now this is an exciting one. Blueprints will not only cover blueprints, but it will also cover loot tables, I think. I can talk about that too.
Next thing on my list was the other side of that, but yes, carry on.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was reading the list. I saw stat clamps next. But
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, no, I'm talking loot tables.
Oh, right, okay.
We finished today.
Yeah.
So
that's to be tacked on.
As you may all be aware, we recently turned off the ability to create blueprints from weapons, armor, and saddles. Now, we've been running the cluster for a good couple of years, and when we first started, we had an upgrade station in. We soon realized that in itself was a massive cheese fest and trivialized a whole ton of content, trivialized the whole kind of quality system on blueprints, and caused us hell on earth with our economy. So the blueprints, the upgrade station was removed.
To be fair, it was very good when there were 4.
Yes, when there was 4 of us and we weren't cheesing the hell out of it by creating primitive max level items that cost like a
Yeah.
metal to repair and did 300% damage or whatever. That was fine, but as things have grown a little bit, that became problematic. So there was that. And then we thought, well, it's nice to make blueprints. We're all exceptionally lazy. We just want to get one cool drop and then we're done with it. And that was good for a time too. But we very quickly realized that best will in the world, once 1 or 2, 3 or 4 people had those end game blueprints, they kind of became valueless on the server because people would hand out a weapon, like, here you go, have a nice shotgun. And before you know it, another blueprint has been created, and another one, until everybody had 300% shotguns that were kind of, a level 5 dude could be running around with one of these things. So that kind of trivialized that whole portion of the game. So we had some discussions and we mulled it over, and there were several different ideas thrown around. But we felt that getting an end game blueprint should be an achievement, not just an expectation that you're given it as soon as you arrive on the cluster. So we had to turn off the function to make those blueprints because there was no trading on weapons, saddles, and stuff like that. It was just being given out, and they had no value whatsoever. And it was kind of, somebody didn't have a 300% shotgun, it'd be like, oh, here you go, have another one. And it's just not working at all. So obviously people who got used to that functionality now miss it, which I can appreciate. I will miss it too because there's plenty of new saddles in the game and all sorts going on that I would like to have, but I'm going to have to find them now. So that's kind of the reasoning behind it. To help things along, though, we have edited some loot tables. Before I go into the detail on that, though, there is a page on the website which says where things drop. The best, you'll soon see that there are some good places to farm up blueprints and some not so good places. Loot is themed by crates, so dungeons or caves are themed towards giving you the gear to be able to run those dungeons or caves. So you go into a cave, you get a red drop, it's going to start giving you ascendant riot gear, ascendant shotguns, ascendant, all the kind of tools that you would need to murder things horribly. If you go to the OSDs, that's where you're going to find a large portion of your tech gear on the high-level OSDs, along with the high-level raiding saddles, Rexes, UTs, all that kind of stuff. There's also another spot which people may have completely missed, the treasure chest on Ragnarok. That is just purely saddle drops with some resources thrown in, up to ascendant level. So that will actually give you saddles and chance at the blueprints all the way up to ascendant level. I don't think it drops primitive. We've also gone in and I've added some similar functionality to some crates on Lost Island. So there are certain loot crates on Lost Island that will just specialize in giving you saddles. And I think it was the Ruins red crate I updated. I'll need some feedback on that one though. Then moving off the saddle stuff a little bit. Federation shards have been added to all drops on Genesis 2.
Yeah.
Again, this will all go in maintenance tomorrow. The missing Federation shards and loot tables for Lost Island have also been done. The Lost Island boss has been updated to drop copious amounts of Federation shards, and the Alpha Lost Island boss will also give you a skin, which will be quite cool. I also think, if I remember rightly, I've added, what's the name of the new dino on Lost Island?
The string.
The one with the one that requires a saddle with the pointy spikes.
Amargasaur.
Amargasaur.
Yeah.
The Amargasaur, yes. So if you want also saddle for said Amargasaur, again, the Lost Island boss is going to be your port of call. Different qualities based on the difficulty of the boss that you kill. So that covers all of that. And
Quick
then,
question on that for you before we move on.
sure.
The boss is going to be dropping Federation shards, but we currently can't buy element. When are we going to be changing that?
Them's a good point.
When we unlock
I-
the server for transfers, do you reckon? Or
No, I think. Well, let's have a quick look actually. Where are you, Mr. Boss?
We all know that Tom just wants to sniff his element dust in his little corner.
no?
So, bear with me.
Mhm.
I'm just looking up the Dinopithecus King to see what he unlocks. So the Dinopithecus King unlocks the tech generator. So I think we unlock element purchases when we get the first kill on the boss.
That sounds fair.
Should it be the alpha boss or should it be the gamma though?
I think the alpha.
I think the alpha personally. So after the first alpha kill on loss, then we unlock the purchase element, which does mean people will be able to start using tech if they've unlocked the engrams on other maps.
Yeah.
But also the alpha boss will unlock a large chunk of the tech engrams as well. So, you know, troughs, generators, replicators, swords, pretty much everything.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
that's fair.
So let's make a note of that one then before we move on. Where's my
And as
Trello?
always, while they're doing that, if you have or are planning to kill the new boss on Lost Island, take a screenshot when you've done. Give us a screenshot of your wrist implant if that changes. Put it forward to Showcase, Poke Admin, and we will credit you with first kill.
Oh, most certainly.
Or even
And there is-
better, record the attempt and we'll put it on YouTube, I think. We might. We'll see.
Then I can bring up my taxidermy and skin people.
That's nasty.
Still typing.
I mean, that's Sandy. But, you know.
Quick
I'm
info
not
then.
crazy. You
So,
are.
while DJ's typing, how's Sandy doing?
Me?
Yes. How are you?
I'm okay, I think. I've been having some lately, but I'm doing better.
That's good.
That's good to
Always
hear.
good to hear.
Yeah.
What about
Right.
you guys? Are you guys okay?
So.
Oh.
Yeah, getting there.
Yeah. Good enough.
Good.
Horrible first day back to work, but ugh.
I know, Jack Club. How's the new house, DJ?
I'm all settled, sorted, and ready to go.
Good news. Cool.
So we're going to crack on. So that kind of covers all the loot stuff. There is one big thing that I've missed out here, and this is kind of the bit that we really want your feedback on. And ideally, we're watching general chat now, so we can see what everybody's thinking and let us know what you think. About a month ago, we talked about stats for Ark, recording how many kills you have, how many boss kills you have, missions you've completed, all that kind of stuff that we can track and give people access to through Discord and through our website, which is all really cool. But the side effect of that is we can create quest chains for you within Ark itself. And part of the conversation that came up when we decided to turn the blueprint off for the saddles and armor and weapons and stuff was like, well, yeah, okay. The game originally intended you to sit there for freaking hours farming your drops and your OSDs and running your caves on the off chance that you get the 1% drop on the saddle that you wanted from a drop that also drops 20 other saddles. So the chance you actually get what you want is practically fucking nothing. Yes, quest chains, achievements, all that kind of stuff. So what we're proposing is, or what I'm proposing, and everyone can explode about this one, we don't change the drop rates on saddle blueprints. We leave them at Arc Vanilla default, but we put in achievements and quest chains that will guarantee you a saddle of a certain quality. So, as an example, but not necessarily one we will use, kill 400 dodos, you get a ramshackle dodo. Yes, I know dodos don't have saddles, but you get a ramshackle dodo saddle. Kill 500 dodos, you get the Mastercraft version. Kill 1,000 dodos, and you get the Ascendant blueprint of the saddle. That gives you a set goal that you will have to achieve to get an item you want, rather than just wandering around for fucking hours through caves, grabbing drops, and just kind of getting thoroughly depressed when you finally get a blueprint drop that's an Ascendant max level and it's for, I don't know, something you really don't want to use. So, feedback in general, please. There'll be a quest chain for every dinosaur in the game that drops the saddle that you will need. And then we will look at things like introductory quest chains, so that when new character logs in, we lead you through the process of setting up your first base, using a soul tunnel, all that kind of bollocks. Along with other wondrous things like some particularly hard quest chains to get yourself Ascendant blueprints for other things like weapons and armor and stuff like that. Yes, lots of stupid achievements for everybody that has no life.
Yay!
I hate to say it, but some of the ideas that popped into my head, we can track mission completions and failures.
Oh dear Lord.
So,
Are you gonna rub it in someone's face too?
so we could have an achievement for failing survive the arc more than 10 times or something.
Cool.
Yes, we
Is this going to be retroactive, or do I need to fail it another 10 times?
No, it's not going to be retroactive in any way, shape, or form.
we absolutely
we
do
might have a
have
bit of
to just answer a question in general. We absolutely do have the ability to do leaderboards and all that sort of cool stuff online. That's quite doable. We've got stuff in place to be able to move into that. So all sorts of quest tracking, mob tracking, kill tracking, boss kills, all that sort of stuff can be put nicely and presented on a website for people to swing their ego around with.
Let me give you see if we got some examples kicking around, because obviously been looking at it.
EP, that too, yes.
Oh yes, you can definitely flex it.
What's an EP?
An internet penis, Sandy.
Ah, okay.
Thank you for making me explain that.
We can also include daily and weekly quests in that that reset, but I'm not exactly sure what we would use for that.
Do you really want to put dailies on the cluster?
Yeah, this is
It could be
horrible
cool feature.
flashbacks to WoW coming into play here.
It is.
Yeah.
No, don't do it.
I think on behalf of the entire cluster, I'd like to say, please, for the love of God, don't do that.
Don't forget the weeklies.
Maybe
just for the shreds of
daily
our remaining
for,
sanity, please don't.
maybe a
And
daily for like eating or drinking.
for the other concern that just went up in general about the constant lag on Gen 2, we are currently looking right into that, and that should improve very soon. Hopefully we get some improvement from tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's the plan. That was the very first. Was it the very first thing we covered on the roundtable?
Yes.
It may have been the second, yeah.
We've had a few joins since the beginning of the roundtable, but
okay.
for those that don't know, this is recorded. Will go up on YouTube afterwards, and I usually post a link in the news channel on Discord, so you can re-listen to it and everyone can hear the bits that they missed. But yes, the lag is our top priority for investigation, and the whole team is on it right now.
So something that's an example of the output you get from the Discord bot if you say asked for like top 10 players on the serve cluster or whatever. Obviously, that includes player kills in there because that's an example from a PvP server, but you get the idea. There's also you can also access all the stats within game as well, not just Discord, but there'll be a whole number of different commands you can run to.
Yeah.
12 dailies from each faction. Yes, faction dailies. They are coming.
Also, yes, there will be a dino wipe after the winter event ends. After and before the events start, we always do a wild dino wipe just to get rid of the funky colours. And back to normal. That will happen. So,
hang on. Just had some hot news in.
Okay.
There'll be a Kraken's Better Dinos patch dropping within the next hour.
Ooh, what's it about?
Wonderful.
No idea.
It'll be it's Kraken, so it'll be a hot fix to fix the fix that he fixed earlier on.
Yes.
Maybe so.
Marvel.
Okay, moving on then. So we've gone past the blueprints and...
Oh, I do have the patch notes now.
Yes, so do we.
Thanks, John.
We have them now too.
Oh, God.
Apologies, Nandi, do continue.
So moving out of blueprints area, as we've kind of just gone through that, do you want to lead into stack clamps? And then we'll finish on something good.
Well,
This
is great news.
Not that stack clamps aren't good. I'm just saying better, No, I'll shut up. Carry on.
Okay. We have some limits set on weapon damage, armor, and that's pretty much it. They're solely in place to prevent you running around with a 750% shotgun, soloing all the bosses in about 3 seconds flat, and making the game just a pointless fest of clicking your button and then you're done, combined with ascendant level blueprints being handed out like candy.
Oh, Doom Edition.
Yeah, it's pretty much Arc Doom Edition when you get to that point.
And for those who have asked, Nani and DJ will confirm, yes, we have gone around with 750% shotguns to test this, and yes, we can solo bosses with them.
It's when we first set up the cluster, we spent a long time with various quality or various damage weapons and armor, just doing bosses and seeing what we could do and what we couldn't do, and finding a point that actually seemed to work well. The numbers that we have on the website in the ARC section under item stat clamps are where our damage should be. It's 300% for most things. Saddles armor is typically capped at 150, but if you get tech armor for your dinos, the armor is potentially much higher. Not from the ones that you craft, but we also have tech saddle drops on our world bosses, which is not something you'd normally get. And they're ascendant automatically, and they will go up to 270 armor for your dinos. So that's why the world bosses exist. But the long and short of that is we tested a lot of values. We have stat clamps in place at the moment, but they are not applied very well because they use a wildcard system to do it. And I'm not going to say how, but people have been known to circumvent those clamps and run around with gear that's unbalancing. So we're going to enforce those clamps in real time, so you won't notice any difference whatsoever. The only people that will notice difference is people that are using a particular method to work around them. That's it.
Excellent. So,
more of a level playing field for everybody.
Yes. Yeah. So then moving on to our last piece for ARC this afternoon. Lost Island and the curious condition of the ARC Editions collection dinosaurs. So we've had some movement on that. Sandy's been working hard with that. So where are we going for this? What's the plan?
The plan for this is we now have a spawn map created by Sandy of where the ARC Editions dinos should spawn on the Lost Island. We also have some quantities penciled in for how many dinos will spawn in those various locations.
Yep.
So, as of tomorrow, after the maintenance, Arc Editions dinos will stop spawning on Lost Island. Then, once we're back up after the maintenance, we will be going in and manually setting up the spawners for Arc Editions dinos to get them onto the map and spawning.
And now you can stop asking me about that, Dav. This is for you when you listen back.
Yay, acros!
Dav,
Woo!
it's time for acros.
There's
So-
something to be eaten.
The way we picked out the spawn locations was we went round and found the biggest bases we could find. And then the larger the base, the bigger the dinosaur we're going to spawn in the middle of it.
I'm
Totally.
assuming Narnia base is exempt from this, Jay?
No.
Not that I'm aware.
House of
That's all
Public
right.
is
Everyone
Anyway,
is
prioritised.
it's fine.
treated different. Everyone is treated equally.
Yes, just some
Small
people more
or
equally
big?
than others.
Right. So,
So to
Go on.
jump back to one of the other questions in general, the stat tracking side of things is an added benefit of the quest chains and rewards system that we want to put in place. So it's kind of originally we were all over the whole stat tracking thing, but then it's actually kind of evolved into something that I think will benefit everybody.
I do have a question, DJ.
Mm-hmm. Question away.
Speaking of the Arc Editions,
yep.
Mm-hmm.
the Savage Acro.
It's savage.
Yes. But I had someone ask if it's gonna be in the, because people have been asking about the saddles.
Where the saddles are coming from.
Yes.
It's going to
Ah.
be added to the Apex events. But it's priority at the moment before we add the Acro boss, which is going to be cool
Yeah.
and really great, is to stabilize the spawns, make
Yeah.
sure they're on every map, give everybody an equal footing, and get the lag out of the way. Those were like superseding everything at the moment, especially the lag, because we know in certain places it's horrific. So that was kind of like mission one, was to get rid of the lag, and then we will start getting the boss into the event cycle. It's not a big job. It's just come slightly under the umbrella of performance comes first.
Yeah.
It's always been the way that, even as long as I've known Arnie and DJ, the way they work is they make it stable, then they make it awesome, and then they repeat.
Yes. You got to get your basics
Unfortunately,
right before you start lobbing more stuff into it.
When you awesomize something, it has an effect.
Yes,
Normally,
see-
it's not a good effect.
You kind of
Hence
have
the
to
repeat.
awesomize it and stroke it a bit, and then do a bit more awesomizing and then stroke that down. And yeah, it's got to be. You have to be able to measure what impact you've had on the server before you go further. So that's probably one of the
Yeah.
next things coming.
To kind of make that a little bit clearer, there will be a new world boss.
Yep.
It will be a Savage Acro. I'm thinking Lost Island because that doesn't have a world boss at the moment.
I like
Yes.
that. That's cool.
It's very savage. Just saying.
And we then put the upgraded saddle onto that boss, like we have done with all the other world bosses for the cool tames.
That boss with no transfers is going to be fun.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of new experience. Do it proper.
I am excited.
Cool. Are we
Um,
okay to wrap with art now?
Oh, one more thing.
Okay.
We've got a fix going in tomorrow as well that should hopefully stop the world bosses wandering outside of their arenas when unattended.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
Yep.
I saw that one trying to kill the domination. Like it wandered into the water
Mm-hmm.
and
And
stood there.
yeah, and also there's a couple of other fixes going in that will stop you grappling from outside of the arena, but that would really only affect you in PvP. And also another fix going in to stop them doing damage when they're outside of the arena before they get teleported back. So if you do accidentally wander into a world boss and you're not inside the arena, you're not going to get your face chewed off anymore.
That's cool. That's
That has
Yeah.
been helpful, yeah.
Yeah,
less
totally.
bleeding and devastation from rogue bosses all over the place. That's I
Yeah.
like that.
I'm rather fond of my face. Thank you.
So yes, sorry. So moving off of Ark and on
Moving-
to other things.
Well, other things are quite simple at the moment. As far as 7 Days to Die goes, we're slow burning this year. Obviously, over Christmas, things have happened. Festivities have taken place, personal crises, and all that sort of stuff. I will be getting back onto 7 Days as soon as I possibly can. For those not aware, there's been a death in the family. My wife went over Christmas, so everything is up in the air at the moment. Right before this, I've just been informed my dad's gone into hospital as well. So as soon as I have more free time and the ability to do so, we'll start to repair the A20 damage on 7 days. I think it's running quite nicely. It's just it needs a lot more the mods looking at, smoothing over and sort of transitioning into how we used to be with A20, and sort of like making it the way we had A19 running, which is nice. So that'll be coming soon. And then Rust is sitting pretty right now. It's kind of sitting on the back burner waiting. We got the programmer we wanted. He's going to be starting work this week, hopefully. And then we can, once we know how things are going with that, we can give you updates on timings and stuff from his side, which will dictate when we can officially launch Rust and like push it properly. So that's coming and that's moving now. That's good news. So I think to finish on then, we've got lots going on. We've got lots yet to do and to prep for. Just be patient while we catch back up from the Christmas rush and sort out personal issues. Everything's going to be moving forward. Maybe a little bit slower than usual, but it's going to move. We've been working hard on that. So thank you to all those who've supported this month. I've noticed a massive surge of new players, a bunch of new subs. Thank you ever so much for that. The guys that are supporting really are keeping the servers running. They should be accredited as such. So thanks to you guys. It's greatly appreciated.
We'll be adding them to the Hall of Heroes.
We shall indeed, yes. Once you support, eventually your name does go up in the Hall of Heroes of the wonderful band of people who've kept us going this long. And it's greatly appreciated by both us and the whole community who enjoy the servers. So before we sign out for the night then, the usual, I think we've taken a lot of questions already, but has anybody got anything they haven't yet managed to add? Yes, John, thank you. Survive the Ark, the mission that, we're back to Ark again. The mission that we took out has been tested now, right? So is that back in the game now?
Yes, it is indeed back in the game and working, tested on 2 servers and didn't crash either of them.
Excellent. So for those of you who have been, I've seen a couple of people mention that this week. Yes, that's back up and running. You can finish off your quest progress, get the boss running and all that good stuff. Quickly glancing back at January just to see if we've got anything else. Can anybody see anything else?
While you're looking, I just need to point out, guys, this past week, we have, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Nani, broken the record for most concurrent players every single day.
Yes.
Yep.
We've broke our maximum kind of twice over now. I've not seen fewer than at least 30 on the past couple of nights. We've been up to the 64s. So yeah, we've had a lot of new faces, a lot of new names, a lot of new supporters. It's really, really cool to see everything flourishing, the hard work paying off. So when we see numbers like that and we see people having fun, it's worth it. It really, really
Quick's
is.
just popped in a note about building on resource spots. That is one of
Yes.
our rules.
Yes, it is.
The rules for the server are accessible in the F1 menu. Just hit F1, go to the last tab on the right.
Yeah.
And they do include, I will actually run through them quickly so that we all know.
That's worth doing.
Let me bring the rules up. Here we go. The current Ark server rules are no politics, religion, generally hateful comments, treat everyone as you'd expect to be treated. That's a non-negotiable. Staff members' decision on this rule is final, and any action taken is final. No building within render range of another base. We're currently debating whether that be medium or epic. Not sure which yet, but we will clarify that. No blocking access to major resources, artifacts, charge nodes, city terminals, orbital supply drops, teleporters, dispatchers, mission terminals, etc., etc. The list goes on. No building on player spawns. Now, obviously, this is a bit of a difficult one because player spawns are not a fixed point, but please don't try to build where people are going to spawn. And if you do, leave your door unlocked so they can get back out again. Soul trap your titans on extinction after use. Do not block players from doing bosses.
Yep.
If your structures are not moved when a GM asks you to, they will be destroyed. Then the final rule is don't be a dick. And that is very subjective. But for example, the other day, somebody let somebody into their base to borrow some items. Not only did they borrow the items, while they were turned around digging the items out of their cupboard for them to borrow, they nicked all their eggs out of the next room along. That is being a dick. And if I find people doing stuff like that, they will be removed from the cluster. So common sense, be nice to people.
Yep. For Savage, who's just asked a question, how many bases can you build on one map? I believe the answer's been showed already. There's a show limits command in general chat in Arc. Will show you how many structure limits you have left. There isn't really a limit on the amount of bases you can have, but you must fit inside the structure limits.
Mm-hmm.
Those
And
are
also, following the previous rule, don't be a dick.
Yeah, those are per map. So you have that structure limit on every single map.
They are per tribe as well.
Another thing I did want to just tack on to the end of the rules as well, and that's just been brought up, traps and taming structures and things like that on all the maps. We've got no problems with you putting up a helpful RG trap on the top of a nice cliff where all the RGs spawn. But there's a lot of them up now, and a lot of them are locked. From the foreseeable, if you do not unlock your trap for others to use, we may well remove it for you. Other people need to use those spots too.
I think the general thing there would be is if your trap is not unlocked, it will be removed.
Yes.
Quite simply, because nobody else can use it. It's blocking somebody else from building a trap in the same place. So block traps removed. Locked pumps from Savage.
Yeah.
Now we've discussed this today. Actually,
we have
pros and cons to both. I know people who have put down oil pumps, gone to collect their oil. There's nothing in them. I know people who have come across an oil pump or an oil vein ready to put down an oil thing, and there's an oil pump there and it's locked and they can't get any oil. So both sides of the argument I can see. However, there are many ways to get oil. If you haven't got a space for an oil pump, get some trilobites.
Yeah, dung beetles,
Two will
trilobites.
do, and you'll be swimming in oil, for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm not sure if people do realize, but that automation on the Soul Terminal is proper OP. Yes, it takes shards to run. It doesn't take too many, and with literally, I think it was 4 dung beetles, in 2 days worth of just letting it run, I was swimming with them so much I had to turn them off. So that's another massively viable alternative to using an oil pump, and arguably is easier because you don't have to fly halfway across the map to the desert to get your oil.
Despair, yes, Dectinos do in fact poop bio oil, and you can also get it from Basilosaurus as well. They drop a lot of it when you kill them.
They do indeed.
So my kind of thoughts on this are oil pumps can be locked or unlocked. It's up to the person that puts them down. There are enough ways to get oil in the game for it to not be an issue. There are also enough oil locations to service at least one for every tribe on most maps. If somebody leaves the server, all their structures will be destroyed. So they will free up again eventually.
Yeah.
Also on CI and Valguero and Scorch, any ones I've put down are unlocked permanently.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, you can do what you want with the pumps. We're not going to force people to have them locked. We're not going to force people to have them unlocked. It's, whatever sits well with you, but there's always other options. So it's not like even if all the oil spots are taken, then you can't get any oil. It's still possible. And also, hopefully the economy gets going and people can trade oil if they don't have any. Somebody's got a pump down, trade it. Take a couple of thousand metal in exchange for some oil.
Yeah, I'd say the 1-to-1 ratio ingots to oil is a good trade.
Yeah. Or buy it off your neighbour with Fed shards.
We do, by the way, guys. We
I
do
think-
have the auction house channel under Arc, so you can use it to buy and sell things. Feel free.
Yeah, that's what it's there for.
And sorry to address Savage's question again. Resources in the shop. We did do that at one point. Nobody really
people
bought them
bought them.
because you can sneeze at a tree and have enough to build a mansion. It's just it's crazy. I first started playing Ark on vanilla settings, and I come back onto our cluster even at 5 times, and it's just like, whoa, yeah, you just sneeze and you've got more resources than you know what to do with. My basal CI has hundreds of thousands of stone and flint, and it's just phenomenal. So resources, not a thing. Even for stuff like pearls, for example, there's dinosaurs that will produce pearls for you now in Kraken's better dinos. So
Trilobites.
again, not a problem.
And apart from Lost Island, you can just go to Genesis, buy them from the Hexagon store, or you can get silk from spiders if you kill those in the caves. Well,
Yes.
again, drops loads of it. I think you get 30 or 40 per spider. So.
Don't forget the moths as well, flying around the desert. The Lymantras are there. Plenty of silk
Yeah,
there. And I believe sickle and certain flowers will get you silk, won't it, in the desert?
Yes.
In the desert, it should, yeah.
Yeah, it will.
It's just a case of knowing where to go for it.
The good thing about this roundtable is we can do Q&A stuff like this, and we can help you learn about some of the features on the cluster which are not immediately apparent or not obvious to people that have just dropped in and never played with the large selection of mods that we have. Yes, if you want to sell anything, there's a channel on Discord, Auction House, under the Ark Survival Evolved section. Just put up what you want to get rid of and kind of an asking price, and I'm sure people will get back to you with what they want to trade for that.
We could even set up some threads for that as well.
Another pro tip for people who aren't aware, it is a horrible exchange rate, but it was based on the cost of goods on the Hexagon store. You can trade points for hexagons. And can you go the other way? Don't think you can go the other way, but that does allow you to purchase engram points as well.
Cool.
If for some reason you need more.
Yeah.
Okay, so
suggestions, I believe, are going to be. DJ Nani will be going through those at some point next couple of weeks, I assume.
I've actually responded to every suggestion in there apart from one with a note with my thoughts on it. Nope, make that 2, sorry. So I kind of expect if we put a comment on there in response to a suggestion, maybe a bit of feedback in the dojo about what, to counter those thoughts before we close them off. So the latest suggestion there from Rowley, I think, about the S Plus egg incubator. I can see 13 people have voted for that suggestion, and 12 have voted for it and 2 against it. But the incubator already has a 20% bonus to hatch speed. And the difference between the incubator and the hatchery is the incubator does auto hatch, but then use the soul terminal to claim the babies. So it's like you can hatch less eggs, but you can automate the process to do it while you're away. The hatchery requires you to manually shuffle things around, but you can come online and have a batch of 200 eggs ready to hatch.
Yep.
Please, for the love of God, don't hatch them all at the same time.
Yeah, don't hatch more than 100 eggs at a time, please. But you see, there's pros and cons to using both of them. They don't both fulfill the same role, and they're not. They're to do different things. One thing we've worked very hard on with the devices in our mods is to make sure that one device doesn't make another device redundant. It'll have a different set of features or a different situation in which you can use it that will make it useful to some people, but useless to other people, depending on your playstyle. So don't expect everything just to do everything. There's good and bad about it. John's suggestion, message of the day, that's already been done. Server IPs, well, that's already available. Just do !arc server info and click the link. Another way of earning Federation shards. Example, killing alpha dinos level 300. To be honest, that's too easy. Other ways of earning Federation shards, well, now that we're rolling out Shards to Genesis and Lost Island, adding them to the normal bosses. They're on the world bosses as well. You can trade for them too. And we'll probably have some Fed Shard rewards in the quest chains that we plan to implement. So I'd say that one's done. The suggestion above that, give all players a soul terminal from Nightside. My thoughts on that are controversial. Please read. Prom's suggestion about consumption rates on food and water. My response to that is it's Ark Survival Evolved, not McDonald's drive-through. So it's a survival game. You're going to run out of stuff. More constructively, I've said, for those of you that may not know, you can craft your own food recipes in the game using a vanilla cooking pot. Those recipes can be severely OP and give you food and water over time. They don't cost much to make, and you can make some really nice foods. Also, maybe invest in gear that reduces your water loss. I believe Gilly does that. Fortitude will also help with that, among other things. So, yeah. I'm going to stop there because I could keep going all night, but my comments are on the suggestions.
And yes, Squidgy
GG.
Panda, the vanilla
Oh.
cooking pot is on the Lost Island. You have to run it through an S Plus converter, and it will convert it back to the vanilla version for you.
Yep. You should be able to convert anything in S Plus back to its vanilla version, and from vanilla back to its S Plus version in the converter table. Doesn't cost you anything to do it. Job done.
Just so we don't lose anyone.
Yes,
what
Vesta,
did
that is correct. And a very good point. Use the large walls wherever possible. An XL wall versus 9 individual walls is a lot less of a render lag for the local player than it is for using lots of walls and foundations and stuff like that.
Yep.
That's the reason why they exist.
Yes, indeed. Right. So I believe we could go on all night, but we're already an hour in.
We probably could, indeed, yeah.
We are 2 minutes away from the maximum time limit of our weekly roundtable.
Yes. So you've got 1 minute and 30 seconds.
So, quick questions. Any more before any answers you want from the guys running your server?
John, fishing, yes. Next.
I believe John is referring to an earlier question that could fishing be looked at and the loot table of.
Unfortunately, no. Fishing cannot be adjusted in any way, shape, or form. We have tried it, and it just is not receptive to any tweaking whatsoever without just throwing a shit fit. I'm not going to go into detail, but it's just broke as fuck.
And
Savage, if you would like to take up an hour's worth of us talking, please feel free. We have recordings, but we don't have...
There are recordings of the roundtable. They will go up on YouTube. There's one for every single week we've done them. So you will be able to listen again, and if taking transcripts is your thing, you can do that.
Somebody enlighten me. Mecha Kellen, Lost Island. What's
Parrotfish.
Yeah, I think you remove those schools with the purging the ocean.
No?
The things you need to passively tame them no longer exist.
Not something we've done.
That's cool.
We haven't blocked any spawns on Lost Island, as far as I'm aware. Other than
No.
The ocean is barren now compared to what it was. You know those pictures I sent you.
Yeah.
yeah, that I think was Wildcard's overspawning fix.
Yes.
There's no anglerfish on the Lost Island anymore,
If the
or
tribe,
parakeet fish.
if the tribe who has already killed the boss on Lost Island does want to send forward a picture or some proof of the loot they have, etc., we're quite willing to credit them.
Yeah, totally.
But until that time, then nobody's done the boss until we've got proof. Right, we have just hit 8 o'clock, so I think that's it for this week. There will be more of this next week. We do this every single week, and we're here, we're chatty, we're willing to listen if people have got really cool feedback. So for this week, we have been the Wicked Ninjas, and you have all been awesome. And good night from me.
And me.
Have a good night.